Hello everyone, welcome to our Comments and Answers TJ channel. I hope you're all doing well. In this video, we're going to analyze and respond to the questions from this week's Watchtower study. This week's study corresponds to April 22nd to 28th, titled, What Do We Learn from the Example of the Nazarites? Without further ado, let's begin. Let's look at question number 1. What good attitude have Jehovah's servants demonstrated throughout history? Jehovah's servants have shown an exemplary attitude throughout history, deeply valuing their friendship with God and being willing to make sacrifices to maintain that special relationship. Let's move on to question number 2, part A. Who were the Nazarites? Numbers 6:1, 2. The Nazarites were individuals who voluntarily committed themselves to live in a special way dedicated to Jehovah. The word Nazarite comes from a Hebrew term meaning singularized, separated, or dedicated. These faithful Israelites made sacrifices to serve Jehovah in a unique manner. When someone made a Nazarite vow, they committed to living under certain special rules that other Israelites did not have to follow. This included abstaining from certain things, such as consuming wine and contacting the dead, as a sign of their dedication to God. Let's move on to question number 2, part B. What motivated some Israelites to become Nazarites? What motivated some Israelites to become Nazarites was their deep love for Jehovah and sincere gratitude for all the blessings they had received from Him. This special commitment was an expression of devotion and gratitude towards God, reflecting their desire to dedicate a specific period of time to serve Him more closely and devotedly. Let's proceed to question number 3. In what ways are we like the Nazarites? We find similarities in our dedication to Jehovah. Like the Nazarites, we also aspire to serve God with all our being, just as Jesus taught by committing ourselves to Jehovah and dedicating our lives to Him. We promise to serve Him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. Also, like the Nazarites, we strive to fulfill Jehovah's will and are willing to make sacrifices to maintain our total dedication to God and follow His commandments even when facing challenges. Let's move on to the first subtitle, Let's Be Willing to Make Sacrifices. Let's look at question number 4. According to Numbers 6:3-4, what sacrifice did the Nazarites have to make? According to Numbers 6:3-4, the Nazarites had to abstain from consuming alcohol and any products derived from the vine, such as grapes and raisins. Although the Bible acknowledges that wine is a gift from God that can gladden the heart of man, the Nazarites chose to abstain from these products as part of their dedication to God. Let's move on to question number 5. What sacrifices did Madian and Marcella decide to make, and why? Madian and Marcella, a married couple from Colombia, made the decision to make sacrifices in their lives to serve Jehovah more fully. Despite having a comfortable life, with Madian earning a lot of money and living in a nice house, they felt the desire to do more for Jehovah. To achieve this purpose, they decided to make significant changes in their lifestyle. They reduced expenses, moved to a smaller apartment, and sold their car. Let's proceed to question number 6. Why do Christians make sacrifices today? Christians make sacrifices to dedicate more time to spiritual activities, even though Jehovah does not demand it of us and we do it voluntarily. We give up things like houses, good jobs, pets, and even close family relationships to better serve God. These sacrifices reflect our desire to offer the best to Jehovah, and we know that He greatly values our efforts. Let's move on to the second subtitle, Let's Have the Courage to Be Different. Let's look at question number 7. Why might it be difficult for a Nazirite to fulfill his vow? In certain periods of Israel's history, Nazirites were not valued or respected by society. Apostate Israelites tried to induce Nazirites to break their vow by offering them wine. So being different and remaining faithful to their commitment to Jehovah was a real challenge that required courage and determination, especially when facing the pressure of a society that did not appreciate their spiritual dedication. Let's look at question number 8. What did Benjamin like about his experience? Benjamin appreciated the courage that allowed him to remain faithful to his convictions despite social pressure. Although naturally shy, he had the courage to express his neutral position in a situation that challenged his beliefs. Despite facing discomfort and nervousness, he stood firm in his decision not to participate in a nationalist ceremony at school. Let's move on to question number 9. How can we gladden Jehovah's heart? We can gladden Jehovah's heart by obeying Him and showing courage to identify ourselves as His witnesses, especially in environments where this may be challenging, such as work or school. In a world where attitudes and behaviors are increasingly distant from biblical principles, demonstrating fidelity to God and preaching the good news of the kingdom may be difficult, but Jehovah will be pleased that we stand on His side. Let's move on to the third subtitle, Putting Jehovah First. Let's look at question number 10. Why was it not easy for the Nazirites to obey the command in Numbers 6, 7? For the Nazirites, obeying the command in Numbers 6:6, 7 not to go near a dead body was difficult because they could not follow the funeral customs of the time, which included being near the deceased's body. This represented a particularly significant challenge if the deceased was a close relative. Although keeping their vow in these circumstances showed strong faith, they could trust that Jehovah would give them the strength to fulfill their commitment. Let's look at question number 11. What should we be determined to do when dealing with family matters? When dealing with family matters, we must be determined to always prioritize what Jehovah wants over what our family members want. This means that while we fulfill our family responsibilities as best we can, we must never compromise our spiritual principles and values to please others. Let's look at question number 12. When faced with a difficult family situation, what did Alexandru do, and what did he not do? When the difficult family situation arose, Alexandru decided to continue studying the Bible despite his wife, Dorina, wanting to stop. Alexandru calmly and tactfully explained his desire to continue with the study, even though Dorina reacted negatively and tried to force him to leave the Bible course. Alexandru remained firm and did not yield to the pressure. Although it was difficult for him, Alexandru tried to understand his wife and continued to put Jehovah first in his life. Despite criticism and mistreatment from Dorina, Alexandru continued to treat her with affection and respect, maintaining his integrity and faithfulness to God. Over time, his example and patient love encouraged Dorina to return to studying the Bible and accept the truth. Let's look at question number 13. How can we show that we love Jehovah and our family? We can show that we love Jehovah and our family by following his principles and teachings. This involves caring for our family members and treating them with love and respect, following the example of Jesus Christ. Additionally, we must be willing to make sacrifices to serve Jehovah while fulfilling our family responsibilities. Jehovah values these sacrifices and recognizes our efforts to maintain a balance between our service to him and our care for our family. Let's move on to the third subtitle, Encouraging Each Other to Be Like the Nazarites. Let's look at question number 14. Who should we encourage above all? We should encourage above all those who are making sacrifices for Jehovah, whether by simplifying their lives to have more time for spiritual activities, showing courage in their daily lives to remain faithful to their beliefs, or facing opposition from their families for being loyal to Jehovah. If we know someone in our congregation who is making these sacrifices, we should take every opportunity to encourage them and express our appreciation for their courage and dedication to God. Let's look at question number 15. What have some brothers done to help those in full-time service? Some brothers have offered practical help to those in full-time service. For example, an older sister living in Sri Lanka decided to help two young sisters facing financial difficulties to continue as pioneers. Upon receiving an increase in her pension, she decided to set aside a sum of money each month to help them pay their phone bills. This generous and selfless gesture from the older sister demonstrated her love and support for her sisters in full-time service. Let's look at question number 16. What does the example of the Nazarites teach us? The example of the Nazarites teaches us that Jehovah values and recognizes the sacrifices we make for him. Just as the Nazarites dedicated themselves entirely to Jehovah, we have also dedicated ourselves to him and desire to please him wholeheartedly. Jehovah knows that we are willing to make sacrifices to fulfill our dedication vow, and he honors us by giving us the opportunity to demonstrate our love and devotion to him. Now we will answer the review questions entitled, What Would You Answer? Question 1. How did the Nazarites demonstrate that they were willing to make sacrifices and were brave? The Nazarites demonstrated their willingness to make sacrifices and their bravery by remaining faithful to their commitment to Jehovah, despite the pressure and disapproval of Israelite society at the time. They also prioritized their loyalty to Jehovah over fulfilling their desires, such as staying away from a deceased loved one to continue fulfilling their vow. Question 2. How can we encourage each other to be like the Nazarites? We can encourage each other to be like the Nazarites by recognizing and appreciating the spiritual commitment and dedication of our brothers and sisters in the faith. It is important to express appreciation for those who show courage and determination to remain faithful to Jehovah, especially when facing external challenges and pressures. Additionally, we can offer our support and mutual encouragement, reminding each other of the importance of standing firm in our vows of dedication to God and our commitment to living godly lives separated from the world. Question 3. What do we learn about Jehovah through the vow of the Nazarites? Through the vow of the Nazarites, we learn about the importance Jehovah places on the personal dedication and commitment of his servants. Jehovah deeply values the devotion and faithfulness of those who commit to serving him in a special way, as the Nazarites did. This special commitment reflects the sincere desire of God's servants to honor and glorify him in their lives. Additionally, we learn that Jehovah recognizes and rewards the sacrifices his servants are willing to make in his service. Through the vow of the Nazarites, we see how Jehovah looks with favor on the effort and dedication of his servants and grants them his blessing and protection. Well, these have been the answers to this week's Watchtower study. I hope it has been very helpful to you, my dear brothers and sisters. We will be seeing each other next week with a new video. I send you a big hug, and may Jehovah bless and protect you always.